Long Lord Christ, Trooper, a Warp Lot. Yeah, overall, Trooper, we're gonna have to get that changed on your YouTube. I see when you check into Delaware, they see meat first. Lock it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Hold on, Slack it. Let me see if I can pull out what I need to from here real quick. Yeah, I can find this real quick. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Let's get some precepts real quick, ready to go. We're gonna start with John 3:16. Talk about God loves everybody. These are some of the precepts um, that Christians use to teach that God loves everyone, and I just want to show how evil it is to teach that. Um, let me see. Give me one more minute. I can. If y'all have any questions, go ahead, type them in the chat. Baba Kashak. All right. Go ahead and get John chapter 3, verse 16. This is the most known precept probably on planet Earth of the Bible. This is right before let there be light. The book of John, chapter 3, verse 16. And it reads, For God so loved the world. All right, hold on. See, a brother got a question right here. If I may, sir, Wisdom of Solomon 18:24. Is that a good precept to break down the world? Let's go to that. Right. You said Wisdom of Solomon. Okay, hold on. Let me go. Let me go a little bit. Um, oh, I think let me see if I can understand the question. So he said, "The is that a good precept to break down the world? Like, what do you mean the world? Because the world we know can mean a lot of different things. You can mean the world as people that are in the world as the whole planet Earth, the world as the Israelite world. Just if you can just be a little bit clear on what you're saying you were trying to use this for the world, right? I can give you a breakdown of what this means in the context of what's being said. But okay, the world for John 3:16. Israel. Okay, okay. So you're saying is this meaning Israel? All right, we'll go back to it real quick. So let's go up to we'll start at verse 15. The book of the wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, verse 15. Thine almighty word leaped down from heaven out of thy royal throne as a fierce man of war in the midst of a land of destruction. Right? It's talking about how the Lord is going to send, Christ to come and free us in the land of our destruction, right? And brought thine unfeigned commandment as a sharp sword, and standing up, filled all things with death, and it touched the heaven, but it stood upon the earth. Then suddenly visions of horrible dreams troubled them sore, and terrors came upon them unlooked for. And one thrown here and another there, half dead, showed the cause of his death. For the dreams that troubled them did foreshow this, lest they should perish, and know why they were afflicted. Yea, the tasting of death touched the righteous also, and there was a destruction of the multitude in the wilderness, but the wrath endured not long. For then the blameless man made haste and stood forth to defend them and bring the shield of his proper ministry, even prayer, and the propitiation of incense set himself against the wrath, and so brought the calamity to an end, declaring that he was thy servant. Verse 22, so he became the destroyer, not with strength of body nor force of arms, but with a word subdued he him that punished, alleging the oaths and covenants made with the fathers. For when the dead were now fallen down by heaps, one upon another, standing between, he stayed the wrath and parted the way to the living. For in the long garment was the whole world, and in the 4 rows of the stones was the glory of the fathers graven, and thy majesty upon the diadem of his head. Unto these the destroyer gave place and was afraid of them, for it was enough that they only tasted of the wrath. So lock it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to double check on that one. I'm gonna have to double check on that preset. Let me go ahead and write that down in my questions. I'm not even gonna answer that one. That's a good question though. Let me see. Make sure I come back next week with that. Put in my questions. Solomon 18 and we'll get 24. He said Aaron wore the long garment with the stones. Is this in there? You see Aaron in the beginning of this chapter, or is that somewhere else you're talking about? As far as him being the high priest wearing that long garment. For in the long garment was the whole world, and in 4 rows of the stones was the glory of the fathers graven, and thy majesty upon the diadem of his head. So this is talking about a high priest that's wearing that garment with the 4 rows of the stones. But yeah, this is talking about something that's being descriptive. So I don't want to use it in the context of John 3:16. So I get the official breakdown on it. But let's go to Mathumya's question. So I had the question about the character Enoch. Is he an actual person? Yes, Enoch was an actual person. It talks about Enoch in Genesis. Uh, the book of Enoch is not the word, though it's not the truth. They tell you in the book of Enoch that it's not the book of Enoch that these people are reading. It's something that they piece together or put together in their own interpretation of what they think about Enoch. But I think if we go into the words, Genesis and so Genesis chapter 5 and verse 18, it says, and Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with the Most High after he begat Methuselah 300 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with the Most High, and he was not, for the Most High took him. And then it talks about Enoch, I believe, let's see, in Psalms 49, 15. It talks about Enoch at different times throughout throughout the Bible, but that book of Enoch is not the real book of Enoch that was written by men of the Lord. So, yeah, hopefully that answers that question for you. Yeah. All right. All right, let's get into this topic as far as John 3:16. When it comes to John chapter 3, verse 16, like I said, this is the most quoted precept. I remember watching a TV show. It was about some pastors. Forget the name of it. It's called the name of the show. It's a funny little show with these Edomites talking about some $1 million, multi-million-dollar church organization. What do they call that? Prosperity gospel churches, mega church, thousands of members, and the family is basically a bunch of scam artists. And in essence, they basically Christians. You know what I mean? No difference than Joel Osteen and Creflo Dollar, of course, TD Jakes, all these different pastors. It was showing the Edomite version. You know, you've heard of all these men over the years that have been out here. We're really just some snake oil salesmen that come and use the Bible as their hustle to make money. But long story short, in the episode, I guess something happened with the pastor they had. The assistant pastor was a family member. He ended up coming across some money, was able to steal some money and run off. So they didn't have him to run their other church in another city. So they're like, we need to get a new pastor to run the church. And so they going around the room asking different people. And they get to the one brother. He like, I think he's a security guard or whatever. He just a regular worker at the church, probably sweeping up, doing janitor work or security guard. He got him up. He said, hey, what does John 3:16 say? He said, God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. He said, all right, boom, you got the job. Sit down. That's all you need to know. Boom. You know that precept, you good to go to be a Christian pastor. You don't have to know anything else outside of this. And it's so evil how they use this precept to destroy our people. And once again, you know, I'm going to go into one of their books to show you the real evil behind what they're saying, right? But so let's go to it. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Like the fact that he's saying he loved the world is where everyone gets tripped up. They take it to mean every nationality, every person, every creature on planet Earth, that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him not perish but have everlasting life. They perverted this meaning, which is really right. I always think about John, Stone Cold Steve Austin too, man. He always was quoting that. He's Austin 3:16. He want to change the precept to be about him, right? But what's really going on here is if you go up and you see the context, Christ is having a conversation with Nicodemus, and he is talking about Israelites and the Israelite world. And we know this word can be used for different things, and that's why it's important. That's a good question about the brother asking about what is the context of this world right here, because it can change as things go, right? But them using that, what's the real purpose behind it? Like, that's when you start studying Esau, you start to see that he doesn't do anything just to be doing it. There's a deeper purpose of him teaching you to love all these other nations. It sounds good. It makes you want to get on board with him. It makes you fight anyone that says something contradictory, because it sounds evil to say the opposite, that God doesn't love everyone, God doesn't love everybody. That sounds evil to tell that to a Christian. But the real evil is to teach someone that God loves everybody and loves whoever for what, no matter what they do, no matter how long they do something, no matter they continue to do something, God's gonna still love you, right? And we'll get some precepts to prove why we say that he doesn't love everyone, right? So, damn, this thing's deep, right? And there's gonna be some big words in here. You know, like I said, I read these different stuff, but it shows you um, how evil these bastards are. And the book I'm reading, right, is about the book called 1984. If y'all ever had to read that in school growing up, it's a very famous book, 1984, talking about a government that is completely running the people, brainwashing them. There is no freedom. They have to do whatever the people running it. I think they call it Big Brother. You got to completely be in obedience and submission to them, or they're basically going to unalive you, brainwash you, put you into a prison, all of that. If you go out of the box they put you in and think outside the box, you're in trouble. If you do anything that's outside of what they want you to do, you're in trouble. And this shows you really how the mind of these devils think, and the fact that we live in that box right now, that people are enslaved in captivity in this place. This is already going on. It's not a made up reality in a book. But if you don't understand how they think, you can't get out of this captivity. And this is the reason why we teach the things we teach. We're going to use their own words to trap them up, right? So totalitarianism, or being enslaved underneath a government that's completely ruling, as compulsory love, like you have to have love in this under this government, right? To be a good citizen means loving Big Brother so fully as to lose yourself. I'm like, man, that's a heavy point, right? Why is that a heavy point? Because you love your oppressor so much. You have to love America so much. You have to love Caesar Borgia so much, right? Yeah, George Orwell. Yep, that's the book, right? You have to love them so much, you lose yourself. You lose your identity by loving this other nation so much. You feel like none of this matters about you being an Israelite because you love all nations. So what does it matter which nation you are? You're a spiritual Israelite. That's the first thing. When they say God so loved the world and made it about all nations, they made the importance of being an Israelite go away. It doesn't matter if you're a child of Israel anymore if God loves all nations of people, right? You lose yourself. In the actual totalitarian states on which Orwell based his novel, this form of love was manufactured by relentless propaganda backed by terror. God damn. If this doesn't describe the condition of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, I don't know what else does. The propaganda is the Christianity, it's the TV, it's the news. They bombarded you with propaganda to believe whatever the oppressor is telling you, right? And then they back it up by terror. You're going to have to be in utter fear of death and punishment of going against this oppressor. So you got to go with them, and then they brainwash you on a day in and day out. So you actually start to believe everything that they tell you. You started off as just being in fear for your life, and then eventually you're going to buy into it and accept what they're telling you, right? The propagandizing and persecution in which Big Brother and his real life counterparts engage are necessary, because if love is fundamentally anti-egalitarian, we'll do these big words, it's against being equal. Real love is not equality, right? And self-directed, and thus impossible to manufacture on the demand. What the hell is he saying? Right? The totalitarian who attempts to such a thing must control the whole reality that surrounds the individual. This is what they seek to do. The consequence of the ruler is that they compel the citizens to collude, like to live in false reality, basically, because manufacturing love is not truly possible. Citizens must instead constantly pretend they love their ruler, and this risks blurring the line between fiction and reality in their own souls. Like, that's what they do. You don't really love the oppressor. You really don't love the white man. You pretending to love him, right? Black people always, old black folks always had something to say about how evil your oppressor was. Like, I remember my grandmother, she used to be in our backyard talking about how evil the Edomites were to us in Texas where she grew up. But then she would start whispering, like she didn't want the neighbors to hear. She didn't want them to hear what she was saying. And then she would always say, well, there are some good white people. They always got to go back and act like you pretend to love these people because you really don't love these people, right? But let's see. When an ideologically totalitarian society makes its people live a lie, right? More than politics, blah, 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 blah. Okay, blah, blah. Okay, we ain't going to go through all this. Let's just go through a lot of different stuff, right? Blah, 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 blah. Let's go to the key points, right? Okay, let's go to this a little bit. Let's start the same. The reason for this is okay. It says, that's why Plato sought to eliminate the affection between parents and children to create a new society where all will be equal. Even nature, which is unequal, must be overcome. And overcoming nature requires an effort not of reason, but of will. Orwell emphasizes throughout 1984 that Big Brother's rule rests fundamentally on forcing reality to fit his will. This is embodied in the party's self-contradictory slogans. Peace is strength, war is peace, freedom is slavery. And Winston's last accepts that 2 + 2 = 5. So long story short, they're going out and making you believe something that is not real is real. There was an experiment they did where they're in a room full of people and they're looking at a circle, and everyone that looks at it says this is a triangle, something like that, right? So you pass something to me, it's clearly a circle or a square, and then they say this is a triangle. You're like, yeah, it's a triangle. 17 people are in on the experiment. They know it's a circle, but they're gonna say this is a triangle. Yeah, okay, boom. Yeah, this is a triangle. They pass to the next person. Yeah, you see, this is a triangle. Yeah, it's a triangle. They go to the next person. They do that 16, 17 people. By the time they get to the 18th person, you don't know this is an experiment. You just go along with what everyone is saying. You're like, yeah, that is a triangle. You don't even want to go against what the majority of the people are saying, even though in your mind, you know, that is clearly a circle. But people will follow and fall into that. And that's how you know you got these people. If you can tell them to believe some bull, some BS, right? So it's saying, once again, they teaching you freedom is slavery. They teaching you peace is strength, or, you know, war is peace. 2 + 2 = 5. These contradictions help break down the independent judgment and thus the autonomy of its citizens. If they accept such blatant lies as truth, they will accept anything. So there's a precept for that. We'll go to that real quick, man. This is why we say the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of, right? We go to Revelations, what is that, 12? Ooh, 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 right? Revelations chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. You understand? Esau's biggest talent is his ability to lie and to deceive. If he can convince you something right in front of you that is false and you accept it to be true, then he is in complete control of you. If I can convince you in front of your own eyes that this circle is a triangle and you accept it, then I can tell you whatever I want and you're going to do it. That's why nowadays they have gotten to the point of years and years and years of breaking people down mentally. It says they don't want you to be an individual. You can't think individually. So it says, once again, it says, these contradictions help break down the independent judgment and thus autonomy of the citizens. If they accept such blatant lies as truth, they'll accept anything. If you will accept that a boy can become a girl and a girl can become a woman, they got an emoji with a man that's pregnant on your phone right now. You can go ahead and put an emoji and send it to somebody with a man with a pregnant, because they say men can get pregnant nowadays. They say men have periods. They want to put tampons in the men's bathroom because they say men can have a cycle. That's not a man. That is a woman. They're going to the men's bathroom, but it doesn't change that they are a woman, man. Right? But if they can convince you to accept that, but it didn't just happen that easily. Like, you're going to the point and saying, well, how in the hell are they saying a man can become a woman? You know, it's not true. It didn't start there. They broke you going back, way back, when they told you that Christ was a white boy. They went way back when they told you that you come from Africa. They went way back when they were able to convince you all of these other lies before. They can clearly tell you that a boy can become a girl. When they told you a man and a woman can get married, I mean, a man and a man can get married, they slowly are breaking you down where you don't think individually that you'll accept whatever they tell you, that now they can pretty much tell you something you even know is wrong. And people are going to go out and say that. Yes, a man, what is it? Trans women are women. What does that even mean? You know what I'm saying? It's not a truth. It's not reality, right? So boom. Big Brother's anti-reality slogans take this effort to the greatest extreme. Oceania's existence is premised on the idea that reality itself is a social construct. Good night. That's another thing they try to do. This is something that people are really thinking and saying these days. I think Russell Simmons' daughter was saying that reality is not even real, that we living in a simulation, or people are saying that this is all these alternate universes and this is just something that's not even real. So if you're saying this ain't even real, then what does it even mean? Nothing even matters. This is something that's going on in your own head. Nobody else in the world exists. This is all in your own brain. That makes you psychotic. That makes you a schizophrenic. And if you're schizophrenic, you can go and believe any damn thing that someone tells you tomorrow because you don't believe in anything today, right? If reality is a social construct, there's no role for individual judgment, including the appreciation on which love depends, because the difference between true and false, or this and that, is transformed from a determination of reality to a function of the ruler's will. Blah, 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 blah. So if there is no truth, there is no lie, there is nothing other than what the leaders are telling you, right? But let's see. Here goes the most important part, right? If there is no difference between this or that, then perhaps, ironically, there can be no difference between love or hate. When this reaches its most extreme point, it becomes something that physicists call the singularity. It comes to a point where the rules no longer apply, physical laws no longer apply. Just as indiscriminate and equal love of all people would really mean not loving anyone. So the difference between love and hate becomes merely semantic, right? So let's just break. I said I'm bringing this out, but we're gonna try to break it down just to regular terms, because this is how the oppressor tries to confuse you. They use all this complex language, and the Bible says that they will speak to us in a language that we cannot understand. They don't talk to us how we think. What the hell what is he trying to say here, man? He's saying that if you love, if anything else on here that's important, right? One more time. It says that just as indiscriminate and equal love of all people would really mean not loving anyone. So the difference between love and hate becomes just words. Like, you're saying you love all people is really hateful to certain people. What does that mean? If you say you love all people, then that means you love rapists, right? If you say you love all people, that means you love child molesters, right? If you really love people that have been abused and raped, then how do you love the rapist the same way? If you saying you love children, how do you love child molesters too? You can't love both. You're gonna have to hate something in order to truly love something. And if you truly love your people, you're going to have to hate the enemies of your people. That is true love. So let's get that in Psalms right there, man. Because they're showing you. Was it Psalms 139? Psalms 139. I'm gonna get that's it for the books for now. But Psalms 139 and verse 22. We started verse 21. Wow, man, let's go up a little bit. Verse 20. For they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. If you love the Lord and the Lord has enemies and you love his enemies, then you hate the Lord. It's that simple. If you love black people and then you love the people that hate black people, you hate black people. That simple. Now, you know how it seems so simple to understand, right? When you put it that way, at least to me, I don't know if it may be confusing anybody else, but if you love children and then you love child molesters, you hate children because you're not protecting them. You're not fighting for them. You're promoting and helping the people that are harming the children. And that's why it's another thing, like I was bringing it out a couple weeks ago. There are men that go out and profess to want to help our nation and our people, and they do things that are positive in the community, like giving out backpacks, you know, giving out turkeys, giving out gifts to the children, promoting positivity amongst our communities. That's important, and it's to why that brothers are trying to do something, but all of it means nothing because on the other side they go out and treat their mothers like whores. You want to say what's wrong with the young black men and still whore out his mother, whore out his sister, whore out his daughter? How are you going to have unity for black people when you hate the women of our people? You hate and destroy the mothers and daughters of our people. You don't really have real love for our people, right? And so you going to the strip club is promoting child molestation, right? Every time you go to the strip club and you give money to these women for being strippers, you're promoting child molestation. Because the only reason why this sister is in that club shaking her tail for money is because she was molested as a child. When you support prostitution, when you support the pornography, you are supporting child molestation, and you hate children. There's no other way you can have both. You can't love this evil, which was created by evil, and love and love the children who are going through these things. You see what I'm saying? And that's what the oppressor knows. He knows in order to get strippers, he got to have this on the back end. In order for him to get prostitutes, he got to have this on the back end or the front end, however you want to say. This got to come first. So he is going to let these cats out of jail. You wondering why is it this cat over here is selling dope and he gonna get 50 years for selling dope? This other cat over here and raping children, he gonna get out in 2 years, 5 years, 3 years. Why is he not getting the 50 years? Because they need him to get out to molest more children so that this oppressor can have a strip club to go to, right? But exactly. So that's why David is saying, "Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee." How can I love the people that hate the Lord and say I love the Lord? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. They your enemies, they mine enemies too. If I'm riding with you, I can't ride with them. You riding with black people, you can't ride with these other nations. You riding with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you can't ride with these other nations. Let's go to Psalms 90 and 2. The book of Psalms, chapter 90, verse 2. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hast formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art the most high. There's a difference between the earth and the world right here. That John 3:16 world they're talking about is talking about the world of Israel, not the entire planet Earth. Let's go to Hebrews 11 and 3. Hebrews 11 and 3. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of the Most High, so that the things which are seen were not made of the things which do appear. Like this is saying worlds plural because they are different worlds. He formed all these different worlds that we see, the white world, the Asian world, the Arab world, all these different worlds were framed and formed by the Most High, right? Let's drop that. We're going to go to John, 1 John 2 and 15. This contradiction, right, of God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. So that. First John chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world, either the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Right? For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Right? And so how can you, once again, love the Lord and love the things that are against the Lord? You can't love rainbow people, LGBT, or how that Cap said, the legit. Yeah, he put it as in one word. That was fire. I'm like, yeah, I got to learn that one, Captain Zaryak, the way to say they these rainbow people, man. But how can you love them and their lifestyle and love the Lord? You're gonna have to choose one. You're either gonna love one and hate the other. That's what Christ said. You can't serve two masters. That's it right there. You cannot serve two masters. You can't love all nations and love one nation of people. And they use that in a diabolical, how everybody online, this is diabolical for them to teach us to love every nation because it takes away all of our love for our own people, right? The Most High is definitely a separatist, even with the animal kingdom, right? The zebras with zebras, the lions with the lions. You know what I mean? Exactly. But they're trying to convince us to be sheep and go live amongst the wolves. They want us to be sheep and go live amongst the lions. And these other nations are trying to destroy us. Matter of fact, let's get that one. Because the Lord explained it perfectly, right? What's that? It's Isaiah? Isaiah 56 and 9. The book of Isaiah, chapter 56, verse 9. And it reads, let's see if we go up a little bit. All right? We'll go up a little bit for context. Book of Isaiah, chapter 56 and verse 8. Yahweh, the Most High, which gathereth the outcasts of Israel, saith, yet will I gather others to him, besides those that are gathered unto him. All ye beasts of the field, come to devour, yea, all ye beasts in the forest, right? His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. All these different nations, they come to devour and eat of the children of Israel. All ye beasts of the field come to devour. These are the other nations. This is no different than, like I said, you have a what they call it, a live flock of sheep, and you welcoming all the beasts of the field to come and eat your sheep. How can you protect and say you love the sheep and invite these other animals to come and destroy them? And that's what these pastors are doing when they teach us to love these other nations. They're opening us up to accept them into our communities, but we're not allowed to go in their communities. You don't go to Chinatown and see Black-owned businesses. You don't go to the Arab side of town and see Hispanic businesses. You don't go to the East Indian part of town and see the Native American. They call the Native Americans Indians. You don't see Native American Indians living amongst East Indians because they don't want us to devour them, but they will come to our communities and set up shop and devour us and eat everything off of our plate and enrich and fatten themselves, right? Um, right. Uh, boom, 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 boom. Verse 10. His watchmen are blind. Isaiah 56 and verse 10. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Like these is lazy guardmen, right? They're supposed to be watching out, just like a watchdog, protecting the people. And that's the spirit I think when I hear Commandant General Yohana, how he chastises these pastors every week on Black Watch. Like you pastors should feel sick about yourself. You're supposed to be the guard dogs of the children of Israel. You're supposed to be protecting us from these people and these devils that are destroying us. You're supposed to be the first ones to step up and say, you know what? These people out here listening to me, y'all doing this to our people. Damn that. You do this again, we all hell is gonna break loose. That's what TD Jakes is supposed to come out and do. That's what Cleflo Dollar. That's what Al Sharpton is supposed to do. Man, you kill one more brother in the hood for no reason. We gonna get all these strong brothers up here. We're gonna be at your door. It's gonna be a goddamn problem. That's what they supposed to do. But instead, they do the opposite. They come out and they feed you to the beast. They tell your people to calm down, forgive them, turn the other cheek, cry, uh, twerk and dance. You had a protest for Black Lives Matter and women out there twerking for Black Lives Matter, man, not doing nothing for the people. That's how they devour us, right? So it says, yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain from his quarter. That's what they doing. This is all for their own gain. They don't bark. They just lying down and loving to sleep on the job. That's how these pastors are doing, right? But let's go to another precept. Man. Let's go to Isaiah 45 and 17. Verse 7, Isaiah 45 and 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. This is the world that shouldn't be confounded. This is the world that will not end. Children of Israel will be saved. This is who Christ was talking about in John 3:16. And so, like I said, I think I was talking about that last couple weeks ago, where your love meter, you only got so much love to give. Your hatred meter, you only got so much hatred to give. You have drained all of your love and giving your good love, you know what I'm saying, to these heathens. Like you giving the best love that you can have to the enemy. Why am I saying that, right? Let's go to Corinthians. It's an excellent class where General Muhammad was breaking down what love is, right? The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 2. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. Like if you don't have love and other things you're doing, you don't have anything. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profited me nothing. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up. Like true love is to suffer it long. If you are suffering with Black people and you forgive them, you really love them. Like that's the scapegoat people use this day. The reason why you're not gonna defend the black communities because black people are the one that have harmed you in your life. Latinos are the ones that have harmed you in your life, so you don't have any forgiveness for them. You have nothing but hatred for them, and that's because you gave all your love to your oppressor, right? And so you have suffered and with them, the things that they've done, you're willing to sacrifice everything in order to accept them, and you have nothing left to give your people except your hatred, except your disdain, except your disloyalty. Like you're so loyal to your oppressor, you disloyal to your people. All those things go hand in hand. You're so obedient to them, you're disobedient to us. Anything that's right on the right hand side, on the left hand side, you completely running with it, chasing after this pressure, right? Let's see. Anything else we got? We approaching the hour mark. We don't hold this one too much. We're getting closer to 9 o'clock. But it's Acts chapter 2 and verse 21. Here you go. The book of Acts chapter 2 and verse 21. And it reads, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be saved. So once again, whosoever. This ain't talking about whosoever, anybody from any nation. Whosoever has been a sinner and has fallen into the world that changes their life, they'll get the opportunity, right? Whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be saved. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Yahweh of Nazareth, a man approved of the Most High among you by miracles and wonders and signs, which the Most High did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourselves also know. Right? That's what it's saying, man. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Yahweh of Nazareth, a man approved of the Most High, man. This is to the children of Israel. Whosoever believeth in him shall be saved. Not all these goddamn nations, what they try to teach you. And like I said, you see it happening all the time. These cats go up and have so much love, so much smiling, all in the face of an oppressor. If they, you know, you made it in the famous world, they just cheesed up. But who do they gotta marry? They gotta marry a goddamn Edomite woman. Like you on the back end have so many great things. Like ask one of these dudes that's in an interracial marriage and they love the oppressor's women, and then you tell them why they didn't get a black woman, they'll come up with 1,000 things to hate black women. But if you tell them a reason for them to hate the oppressor and their race of people, they'll say that you're being hateful. But you can go on one end and say all these hateful things about black women and generalize their whole race. Do that for the oppressor. They're gonna be, oh, you putting all them in the same boat. You can't do that. This is that, and the third. They'll justify why they're dealing with this white woman, but then at the same time talk about you when you try to deny them. They'll talk about black women. You understand what's wrong with black women? They'll be just as racist as them against us. In order to defend them, right? Salakia. If y'all brothers don't have any other questions, we're gonna go ahead and close out this class. Um, let's see. That one is a good one. He's cheesed up. Right on, brother. Right on now. Yeah, we'll go ahead and salute though. Akim, Yahweh Bashim Yashah Bragatham to all the brothers, Yahweh Shamar Hatham Bashim Yashah to all the sisters. All right.